This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Sterling Fox, joined in studio by registered audiologist Dr. Ted Venema from NextGen and Mainland Hearing. We're talking about all these innovations in hearing loss and all the solutions that are out there. And we've been talking fairly extensively for the first time ever, and it's been absolutely fascinating, Dr. Ted. I appreciate your patience in walking us through this whole business of dealing with children, because we boomers are sort of, we reluctantly coming to terms with the fact that hearing loss is inevitable to one degree or another. But when you're talking little kids, it's a whole other ballgame. But now we're talking hearing aids. And we started by, at the end of a description of the hearing test of children and infants, I asked you about, well, is there a special category of hearing aids for those little squirts? And you said, well, no, not really, aside from the fact that it's about size and that they have smaller ear canals than the rest of us grown-ups.
That's right.
Is that the only major difference?
Yeah, and how you set the baby's hearing aids, because in a smaller ear canal, the various decibels coming out are going to be louder than they would be in a larger ear canal.
Right.
I mean, so that's just acoustics, and that's the stuff. That's why not everybody just fits hearing aids on children.
Sure.
It's a specialist. It's someone who really does this as a specialty.
Right.
And these are pediatric audiologists, and you won't find them on every street corner or in a mall. They'll be usually at a hospital or a health center.
I was just going to say, because the difference is when I go to NextGen and get hearing aids after a hearing test, and it's been determined that I should get them, well, then I'm going to go back for probably 3 or 4 or more visits over the course of the first 6 weeks or 2 months as they get fine-tuned to precisely what my needs are and my personal condition. And that gets done on the basis of I come back going, you know, throughout the past week I've been hearing this weird noise. Can we get rid of that? Well, you and I can have that conversation as adults, but how's a 2-year-old going to have that conversation?
What we do is we take the hearing aid, put it in the child's ear, a small tube inserted underneath the hearing aid, and we measure the sound coming out of that hearing aid, and we know what the loudness of the sound coming in the child's hearing aid is. Okay, and we draw a map of the child's hearing levels, and it's called an SPLogram, a sound pressure level graph, and it shows where aided speech would sit in that child's dynamic range.
Okay.
And that phrase, dynamic range, let's describe that, because I think that's really the issue here.
Okay.
Dynamic range always refers to the decibel distance between the softest that somebody can hear and the loudest that someone can tolerate.
Okay.
Okay. It always refers to intensity, not pitch. It's the softest versus loudest.
All right.
Now, hearing loss, most hearing loss doesn't mean that someone's just stuck a plug in your ear. That's not it. 95% of hearing loss is a result of a reduction in dynamic range.
Okay, gotcha.
It means your floor of hearing sensitivity has risen, but your ceiling of loudness tolerance hasn't changed much at all.
Right.
And so your decibel distance is now, instead of being from 0 decibels, really soft, up to 100, which is too loud, now you're at 50 decibels is very soft.
So
and
your
100
range,
is
your
still
range
too
is cut
loud.
in half.
Yes.
Right.
And so with a baby or with an adult, with anybody, you're looking at the map of their dynamic range, and your mission as an audiologist is to determine where does aided speech sit. And we measure that. It's plotted on a graph.
Right.
And you can see, is the aided speech coming into the hearing aid, when amplified, is it nicely placed into the dynamic range of the client?
And so this is what the hearing aid does.
It
allows you to rehear in that range that is gone for you.
Yes, and to do that, they amplify soft sounds by a lot. And then as the sound coming into the hearing aid gets louder and louder and louder, the hearing aid automatically backs off.
Right.
Because let's face it, if 100 decibel sound comes in the hearing aid, you don't want to amplify that at all.
Right.
Okay? So you want the hearing aid to back off automatically. That takes sophistication. Hearing aids are quite complex.
Indeed.
In terms of how much they amplify different sounds.
And they're made in Canada, generally speaking. Well, most models available, there's about half a dozen manufacturers, and each of whom has a number of different models. There's a sort of a bronze, silver, and gold price range. So you don't have to spend, solid gold, 4 on the floor, all that bells and whistles
Absolutely not. It's what best fits your lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, some people want a hearing aid that'll wake them up in the morning and make coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need all the bells and whistles.
Now, you also mentioned, we've only got about a minute here, but you also mentioned something earlier about 21 days.
Yes.
You could get a hearing aid and basically just walk around with it and
Yeah.
try it out for 21
That's
days.
the Next Gen Mainland Hearing Challenge. What
Okay.
we do is we offer anybody coming in through the door, if it's seen that you could benefit from hearing aids, we find the style that best suits you, and we set you free. You've got them for 3 weeks. We'd like to see you after a week, see you after 2 weeks, check out how things are going.
Just fine-tune everything,
Yep,
right?
but only at the end of 21 days. If you wanted to return them, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't given us anything,
Right.
like not a dime. If you decide you wanted to keep them, then you'd pay for them. But you've got an additional 69 days, because 21 and 69 is 90.
Okay.
So you've basically got 90 days whereby you can try the hearing aids, and if you didn't want them, you can return them.
All right.
So
And all of this after a free hearing
yeah,
test.
exactly.
Not exactly what you call a huge commitment there.
Nope.
To just eat for no other reason, and I keep coming back to this. I'm so glad I had a hearing test.
Yeah.
Only because now, for the first time ever, I know what's going on.
Exactly. It's the information.
It is.
And it's the information age,
is
isn't it?
power.
Yeah, you got it.
Dr. Ted Venema, audiologist with NextGen and Mainland Hearing Centers. Check him out online. NextGen is NEXGEN Hearing.com and MainlandHearing.com as well. Dr. Ted, always a pleasure.
Yep,
Lots of fun
you got
and
it.
tremendous information.
See you next time.
You bet. Back again soon on Boomer Life.